Hi Gemini, this is Lost Twin Tarot. My name is Colette. If you haven't viewed me before, Gemini, this is going to be your weekly reading for the week of April the 1st through the 7th. This is good for all placements, sun, moon, and rising sign. Um, I'm trying to think. Just take the pieces that resonate and then leave the rest. Gemini, I had an allergy test yesterday that tested for all kinds of things. So I still feel like I'm feeling like a little bit of the effects from it. Um, but anyway, when I was meditating on your cards yesterday, oh my God, sorry, I feel like we're already feeling the effects of the retrograde. That's what I was gonna say. We're going into the first week of the retrograde, for that week of April, but I feel like, it affects, Geminis, I feel like they say the most. And what I was gonna say is, you know, Mm, I feel I feel like almost like Geminis are kind of used to always misrepresenting ourselves. I feel like, we're kind of already used to that. Sometimes during the retrogrades, I feel like um sometimes I have a really good retrograde. I don't know about some of you Geminis, but sometimes it seems like some of the I have some of the best luck during that time. Um but sometimes I feel like my words are always getting wound up. So uh a little I'm a little anxious about the readings, I will say. Um, but when I was meditating on your cards, I feel like you're going to be focused, um, you know, I feel like you're going to be focused on your health a lot in the first week of April, all of April, really. But I feel like, you're going to be, I kept hearing like you're not going to be hiding anymore. I'm not going to be hiding anymore. I feel like also like some of you could be doing like a new health trend. Um, Maybe something like a retreat or something like that for some of you. Um, I feel like some of you could be like more forgiving of yourself as well. Um, More forgiving of others, more forgiving of yourself. Um, I feel like you're not going to be um like so hard on yourself if you're like um if you if you don't stick to like a certain eating regimen, or if you don't work out, or if you um you know you fly off the handle or whatever it may be. I feel like you'll be more forgiving of yourself. I feel like if you know you'll be you'll be able to take a step back, and you'll be more mindful of it too, and you'll be able to kind of just calm down. um I feel like you're gonna be able to kind of like let things go a little bit too. Um, Almost like in a sense of like, well, we can't change it, so what's the sense of, arguing, or what's the sense of, worrying about it type of thing. Um, I feel like you'll be a little bit less tense as well. Um, Surprisingly. You have the Five of Wands on the bottom. I feel like you're really trying to like focus on your well-being. Okay, so Gemini, you have the Knight of Swords, the Hermit, the Three of Wands, Temperance, the Two of Swords, and the Hangman. You have the Knight of Cups. You have the Ten of Swords, the Three of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Magician, the Strength card, and the Emperor. You have one, two, three, four major arcana right next to each other. Then you have the Hermit in here as well. All right, so let's get started here, and then we'll pull some additional clarifiers as well. So you have the Ten of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So right off the bat, like I was saying, I feel like you're going to be, less tense. I feel like you're going to be trying to take a step back and do things, a little bit slower, a little bit more mindful of things. And I feel like that's what this is kind of saying. The Knight of Swords, it is Gemini energy, that he's the fastest moving knight. And I like to call this knight like the cat in the hat, energy. Sometimes he's so impulsive and he comes in and he means well. He does want to do the best thing. He just kind of comes in, he gets everybody riled up, and he just comes in and he makes a mess out of everything. And then, as quick as he got everybody riled up, he leaves. And as quick as something was excited, it's like it was in and out the door, and everybody's kind of hopes were a little bit dashed, including your own. And I feel like you're going to stop doing that, in the month of April, and it's going to start this week. I feel like you're trying to kind of take a step back with that Ten of Swords. I feel like you're going to start trying to calm down, and you're going to start to almost just take things a little bit slower. Um, I feel like you almost want to, like, it's almost like the month of April is going to be busy, so I feel like you almost need to be slower to make sure you don't miss anything with that retrograde. I feel like you've been missing some things in the past. You've maybe missed some appointments or things like that. And I feel like you're like, I need to take things slow for my own health, my own mental health, just so I don't, mess things up for everybody else or myself. Next, you have the Hermit and you have the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is about, expansion, it's about planning, it's about putting things into action. And I feel like you're starting to realize with that Hermit card that the only way you're going to ever be able to put things into action and to make things, actually go forth and move forward, you are going to be able to actually have to take some time and to, um, do some heavy thinking with that Hermit card. The Hermit card can also be about traveling, and this can be, a short travel. It doesn't have to be anything long. It just, is about doing some heavy thinking and, realizing that you are smart enough to make these decisions. But you also have to do, um, you've climbed to the top of this mountain like this Hermit card. So you are smart enough to get where you have gotten, you know, but now it's time to, shine that light like he has in that lantern and get yourself unstuck, um to be able to move forward. And you kind of think, well, how am I supposed to get unstuck? And it's almost like you need to figure out, the one thing I wrote down on there was, I'm not hiding anymore. So I feel like you have a lot, take it how it resonates. I feel like you have a lot of potential, and a lot of you do want to shine that inner light. You just need to figure out how. What is it that you're trying to bring out? What are you trying to expand on? Whether this is a project, a job, a plan, a relationship, whatever this is. Next, you have the Three of Wands again. You have the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands. So I feel like, again, you're trying to put these, you're in the planning stages. You have everything on blueprints, in your mind, you know, and I feel like you're constantly like planning and tweaking, and, these wheels are constantly turning. And, I feel like you are always planning. I feel like Geminis are always planning, you know, and I feel like the only way are, you're planning, and I feel like the only way to get things forward is that, it's between the Hermit and the Temperance card. I feel like in a way also you could be a little bit almost, I almost feel like in a way you could be burnt out of planning. She has these four hands on these, you know, brooms and everything else, and she's covered in dirt there. So I almost feel like the universe is saying, don't plan anymore. Stop planning. Stop having those wheels turn. Just go ahead, just do. Just make it happen. Don't even think anymore. Just go ahead and do. Stop that, rattling around of the planning, because the planning is kind of what you ride on. You keep riding on these plans or riding on the dream or whatever it is. Don't keep doing that. Just, you know, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and ask the person out. Go ahead and, you know, um, start whatever plan. Go ahead and just start the project and see what happens. It's kind of what I'm feeling there. Next you have the Magician and the Temperance card. And I feel like the Magician is, that's definitely, that is Gemini energy. That is one of the power cards of it. I feel like the Gemini, the the Magician is kind of in the Temperance card, it's like you're trying to manifest something. You're manifesting something, but you just need almost like you're trying to manifest something, but once it kind of gets close with that temperance card, it's almost like you're like, wait a minute, it's getting a little bit too close. With the temperance card, he's got that 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I feel like sometimes that's kind of the energy you're in. Um, something gets a little bit too close, and then you're like, wait a minute, wait, it's here. I'm not sure if I'm ready. I feel like it could be a little bit of wishy-washy energy. I mean, he has his hand out like that, and he's kind of making that um washer and dryer that appear, and I almost didn't even mean to say wishy-washy, but it's interesting because it's almost like you're making something appear, and once you get it, you're like, well, I don't really know what to do with it, or you're like, well, I don't really know if I want it anymore. Um, because I feel like you're pretty good at manifesting things, Gemini. But I feel like once you get it, you almost are kind of I feel like almost once you get it, you're almost kind of burnt out on it because you have written that dream, that planning, that um dreamy type of, oh, what am I going to do when I get this? What am I going to do when I get that? What's going to happen with that? And I feel like you sometimes almost kind of, you know, think about it so much and plan so much that once it actually manifests and gets to you, you're like, well, I didn't mean like that. I didn't want it like that. That's not what I wanted. And you're kind of, it's sort of like the universe brings it in for you, and you are divinely protected by that angel, and everything is going to be okay. But you're kind of like, well, I don't know if I'm ready yet. Next, you have the Strength card and the Two of Swords. And I feel like, the Two of Swords is that same type of thing. You are, I feel like you're having a little bit of confusion, making a decision in something, um, which is, is, pretty typical for Geminis, isn't it? And I feel like, the Strength card is saying that, you need to pull out that Gemini strength that we know you have, that deep down quiet strength that we don't really show. Um, that you are capable of making this decision about what you want. Um, and it is hard to find it. It's very hard to find it because that is what we're all looking for as Geminis. And I feel like almost in a way, this is kind of saying like you don't know what you want. And it's like, well, if you don't know what you want, let's just try to make a decision and see if this is what you want. Let's just try this. It's all about trial and error, right? It's the only way we're going to find out to see if this is going to be the right thing. It's almost like when you figure like dating a person, you don't know if this is going to be the person you're going to marry, but it's like, well, let's try to see if let's see if this person's going to be a good fit, right? It's almost kind of like that. Um, and it's like you don't know, but let's just try. I feel like you could be a little bit guarded as well with those two swords, above your chest. It's like, well, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't want to waste any more time. But the only way you're going to be wasting time anyway, not deciding and not figuring anything out, right? So, you might as well just put the time in and um put your energy in something that you might not like or might do. I guess the only thing you'll do is kind of jump ship, right? I mean, I know I've jumped ship on a million things, whether I liked it or not. So that's kind of what I'm thinking you could be doing in a way. Next, you have the Hangman and the Emperor. And I feel like the hangman is kind of saying, like, you're just been hanging around for a while and you've been getting clarity. You've been trying to gain some clarity on some things. You've been doing a lot of sacrifices on some different things. The Emperor, I feel like you're trying to, gain your power back when it comes to, find this enlightenment. I feel like you've been almost sacrificing your power in a lot of ways, and you've been wanting to gain it back. I feel like you've almost been powerless in a way. You feel like you're almost powerless against the universe when it comes to it. You feel like you have no power because you've been just hanging there. You've sacrificed your arms, your legs, and you've just been hanging out. You feel like you're almost powerless in a sense. Um, so let's get some further clarifiers for you, Gemini, and see what we have going on for you for this first. week of April. What do we have here for Gemini for the Ten of Swords and the Knight of Swords? You have the Ace of Cups on the bottom, and you have the Seven of Cups. So I feel like what that's saying is, yeah, definitely you're not going to be making these, hasty decisions anymore. I feel like when you do make decisions, you're going to be more confident in them with the Ace of Cups. You're going to feel more confident in them. You're going to feel more content. You're going to enjoy the you're going to be enjoying yourself and enjoy the pleasures in them a lot more. This can be in love, this can be in pretty much anything that you want to put yourself into. Whatever it is, your emotions are going to be satisfied. Take it how it resonates. But I feel like in the past you definitely could have rushed into your decisions, and that could be what's holding you back now, because you could have been like, well, I rushed into this and I rushed into that and I did this, and maybe now that's what's kind of you're thinking, okay, well, now I'm going to do things slower. I'm not going to run into this. And it's just in the nature of Gemini to be impulsive. It is that childlike energy. We want what we want when we want it now, and it's just who we are, and it's just because we have that young at heart energy. It's just the way it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I you know, feel like if we weren't like that, we wouldn't be able to enjoy a lot of the great experiences that we've had in our life if we didn't do those things. Um, but now I feel like when it comes to some long-term decision making and some things that you want to kind of invest in down the road, you're going to be doing things a little bit slower now. What is the Hermit and the Three of Wands? You have the Page of Cups on the bottom, and you have the Seven of Swords. Um, and I feel like this is saying that with the Three of Wands, you are trying to expand on some things and you're trying to figure it out. Like I was saying, you are, you need to, or you're trying to like take a look, within. You're trying to shine that bright light. With the Seven of Swords, I feel like you almost, you're doing this like quietly. You're doing this almost like in secret. You don't really want anybody to know. I feel like in a way with the Page of Cups on the bottom, um, you could be trying to bring something down. You're trying to bring something down, from the heavens and bring it down and make it happen and trying to make this expand. But it's almost like with that, you feel like it's almost like, you know, it's been like it's almost been like stolen from you or something. I feel like, with that Seven of Swords, that's like the lying, cheating, stealing card. I feel like it's almost like you feel like it's been, maybe not stolen from you, but it slips through your fingers. Every time you feel like you're close to it, you feel like it's just kind of like it's there and then it's gone. Or you feel like once you get close to it, it's like it's right there, then it's like, and then it's gone. I feel like that, kind of like when, he's like watering these flowers on there. And I feel like every time you start to water something, it's like you're like, yeah, I'm taking care of this, I'm nurturing it. And then you go back out to check out on your house plant or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, it's dead. I'm like, oh, I thought I was doing really good with it. I feel like that's kind of how you see it. But it's not, you have to just keep going with things, because if we give up, then what's the point, right? With the Three of Wands and the Two of Wands, you have the Five of Cups on the bottom and you have the Justice card. So I feel like there has been disappointments in your life, I feel like you've been disappointed in a lot of things, and that's what you keep going back to. You keep rehashing the past. And I feel like with Justice coming in, that's what you're trying to balance out. With the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands, I feel like, don't keep going into the planning stages so much, but just to go do. Just go ahead and, do it, and things will, you know, you will almost get the karma that you uh deserve. I feel like also in a way some of you feel like maybe um maybe the plans that you made have kind of been thrown off due to maybe like you got thrown off because of different influences in your life and things like that. Like you didn't get supported and things like that as well. Like you have to be your own cheerleader now. Um with the magician and the temperance card, you have the death card on the bottom, and you have the chariot. So you have three major arcanas and one on the bottom in this realm. And the chariot is saying that you are headed for a victory. On these they have, it says, if you can see it, it says like risk, gain. These girls are getting ready to get into this, what is that? What do they call that? The sports wagon? Is that what they call it on vacation? They called it something like that. But I feel like you're getting ready to, transform into something. And I feel like you are taking a risk with that. I feel like you're getting ready to not put this one foot out, one foot in energy with temperance. And you are going to go all in with that chariot. You're like, okay, fine, we're going to get in the car. We're going to get in this car and we're going to take the risk and then we're going to receive the gain. I feel like when you're manifesting with that magician card, you're going to realize that once you see your manifestations coming in, you realize that the only way you're going to transform with that death card, you will realize that the only way this transformation can take place is if you go all in. What's the strength card in the Two of Swords? You have the Nine of Cups on the bottom, and you have the Six of Cups. Yeah, and I feel like, that's in the Two of Swords, it's like you are guarded, but I feel like, it's like what I was saying is like you don't, just to try something out, and just to see if it works, because you never know. It could be a wish fulfillment that you didn't know, just to try it. The only way you'll know is to try to see. And the Nine of Cups is all about being in that energy. The Six of Cups is all about a feeling of nostalgia, a feeling of something that you remember that made you feel good. It's also a feeling of like a blessing after a difficult time. And I feel like once you take that blindfold off and remove those swords, that's kind of like the energy of letting your guard down, not being defensive. It's pretty much like the energy of being like a child. They really are a little bit not, they're not defensive at all. They really don't know the dangers of the world. Before they really are exposed to all that, they don't know any of that. And that's the energy of Gemini, that being a child at heart, that youthful, fun energy. And I feel like that's what you should embrace to almost make your decisions. Embrace that childlike energy. And what do we have lastly for Gemini? We have two that wanted to come out. Two good ones. You have the lovers on the bottom. Very good. This can be in love or in the path. But you have the Six of Wands and the Four of Wands. This definitely can be for love, or this can be for a path that you want to take. With the Emperor and the Hangman, this represents, Four of Wands, Six of Wands, a victory. This represents the home. This represents a celebration. This definitely can be something that you've been possibly waiting for. Um, I feel like maybe some of you have been waiting around possibly for a proposal of something with an emperor. Maybe you've been waiting for something at a job. Um, some of you possibly could have been waiting for a proposal, possibly to get married even. Um, Maybe some of you have been actually waiting to propose to somebody or move your relationship to the next level. Um, but with the Four of Wands, that represents the home, it can represent, a wedding, um, a celebration. It definitely represents something like that. With the Lovers on the bottom, that's all about, the path. That represents a good partnership, a good commitment. And with the Emperor, that can represent a higher up, that can represent, someone who's wise. It definitely can represent a partner if if you identify with, someone who's like that. If your partner can be like if you're involved with like an Aries person, or if you see your partner maybe as someone who's takes care of you, like a father figure type person. But I feel like it looks like a really good first week of April, Gemini. I feel like, you're taking things slow, you're not rushing into things, and as you kind of go about, the end of the week looks very promising for you. You know, you're taking things slow, and as you realize, is coming in at the end, it looks very promising. So yeah, it definitely looks like a good week. Take things, you're taking things slow, you're not rushing into things, but then when you finally, are making decisions, it's coming in and you're making, good, thoughtful, wise decisions and you're moving forward with your plans. So it looks like a great week for you, Gemini. I'm pleased with it. Thank you so much for viewing me today. I really appreciate it. Sorry this reading was a little long today. I apologize. If you like this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. And until then, enjoy your week, and I hope to see you at your next reading. Thanks. Bye.